All right, week number 9. Good to, or I'm sorry, yeah, week number 9. Good to see everyone. If you missed week 9's class for health and wellness, this is going to be your review video to come back and watch. Make sure that you send me a message that lets me know that you watched the video to get credit for your missed absence during class, or if you're just rewatching the video because you just wanted to go back and practice some of the things we talked about in class, then go right ahead. That's up to you. But you don't need to send me a message if you were in class. So if you were not in class, sorry we missed you. So let's get started. Week 9. Okay, remember, try your best. We're going to do a little combination today of some exercises. We're going to review some things that we've talked about. And then we are also going to talk about something new today and get to kind of practice a little bit as we move along. So here we go. You're going to make sure you check your personal space. Make sure you have your water ready to go. All right, I'm going to turn on some music to get our warm-up going. We're going to do some dynamic warm-ups. So I'm going to get the music going here as soon as I unshare my screen. And here we go. Let's get that music going. All right, here we go. Please share. And our first one, okay, watch the die in the picture. Whatever number it lands on, that is the exercise you are going to do. So if it lands on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, that's the one you're going to do until I say stop. Ready and stop. Oops, I missed that one. Try that again. Number 1, so arm circles right here. I'm circling it for you. Number 1, arm circles, go. You go for 10 seconds. I'll tell you when to stop. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and next slide. Here we go. Ready. New set of exercises. Let's pick from here. Here we go. Watch the die, whatever number. Oh, I did it again. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me use this part here. Number 4, bell hops. 1 foot hopping in front of the other. Okay, forward and back. Bell hops. Number 4, right here in the corner. The bell hops. 1 foot. Go for about 5 or 6 seconds. When that leg starts to feel a little tired and fatigued, switch your feet, go to the other foot, hopping back and forth, forward and back, down here, number 4, bell hops. Right, here we go. Next one. Whoops. Only had 2 warm-ups today to get through. Okay, here we go. We're reviewing our locomotor movements, walking. So go ahead, walk in place. You can walk in a straight line, or you can walk in a curve. You can walk in a zigzag if you have space. Okay, you can work. Oops, that's going to go backwards. You can walk in a curve. Okay, you can walk in a zigzag, sharp side-to-side movements, or you can walk in your straight line. You can walk backwards if you want. Good, here we go. Running in place. Do not run through the house. If you don't have enough room, you can just jog in place. You can stay in one spot, like as if we had like a dot on the floor, and just run in place. If you got a little bit of room to go in a little circle, go ahead. Do not run around the entire house though. Okay, do not go all the way around. Good. Make sure you're watching your space. Make sure you're moving your arms forward and back with those legs as you are going. Jumping, here we go. Jumping, 2 feet together. I'm going to go until I say stop. You can jump in one spot if you want, or you can jump forward if you have enough room to. If you don't have enough room, that's okay. Use those arms to pull back and propel yourself forward. Bend those knees. Push off those toes. Good. Hopping, here we go. 1 foot. 1 foot. You notice those arms are helping to get a little bit of momentum. Hopping, using that toe, land nice and soft up on the toe of our feet, up on the toes. Okay, good. Other foot, switch to the other foot. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Skipping. Again, if you don't have enough room, you can just step and hop in one spot, stay in one spot. If not, you can go in a little bit of a circle or a little bit of space that you have. You can go forward, then just turn around, come back a little bit. If you don't have this much space on the screen, that's okay. All right, and leaping, okay? Starting on one foot, jumping to that other foot, landing with balance, then pushing off and landing on the other foot. Leap, leap. All right, notice we're not running, we're landing with balance and then leaping to the next one. Slide, the slide shuffle, side shuffle, side slide, whatever you want to call it. Okay, side to side. Don't let your feet are playing tag with each other. One foot's trying to tag the other foot. Don't let them touch each other though. Sliding sideways. Get those hands up. Get that body nice and narrow. Knees bent, hips bent. Good. Head up so you're looking forward. All right, here we go. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about bowling, and we're going to talk about underhand roll and how we hold on to a ball. Now, I know we don't have a ball at home. That is okay. When we get into school, we'll actually have some kind of make-believe bowling balls that aren't going to be real, but they're going to be somewhat real, that will have the finger holes for us to hold on to. So what I want you to do is take whatever hand that you would roll the ball with, okay? I want you to form, okay, the howl of the wolf. Okay, so you're going to make that wolf howl. You got the ears over here with your pointer and your pinky finger, and then the two fingers in the middle, okay, are going to come down and touch your thumb. Okay, so you're just going to squeeze. I'm going to use my other hand as well. Okay, okay, two fingers in the middle. Let the wolf ears stay up on top. These are the three fingers right here that are going to go inside of the bowling ball. These three here. Okay, good. All right, so when we grip the ball, okay, just pretend like you're holding that ball out in front of you. Take that hand, make the howl, the wolf howl, okay, and stick those two fingers in the top, the thumb in the bottom, and the ears stay up on top. And there's your properly held bowling ball. Okay, it'll give you the most stability, it'll give you the most control and ability to hold on to that ball, but also be able to keep that ball going in a straight path, not off to the side, until you get really good and learn how to spin it a little bit, but that'll take a different technique. Okay, so make that wolf howl. Good. Fingers in. Doesn't matter which finger. You can put your thumb in first and then put the other two in. That's fine. Or you can put the top two in first and then put the thumb in. Doesn't matter. All right, so here we go. We're going to practice some lunges. Okay, so just like in the picture, we're going to step forward with one foot. Okay, that foot's going to go down on the ground with our knee coming just up above the toe. We don't want it to go too far. We don't want it to go in front of our toe. Okay, to our toe is as far as we want to go. Trying to keep it in relatively a straight line. It's okay if it goes forward slightly, but it just can't go across our toes. Okay, so we don't want it to go past our toes, which is right about there. See how this, right there. Okay, so we're gonna do about 5 more. The back knee can drop down just close to the floor without touching it. 2 more, 1 more. All right, now, why did we do that? Because we're gonna practice the lunge approach. There's a couple different approaches that we can do to get ready to start practicing our rolling and bowling in class. I know we can't really do it now, but it's just a good way to practice so that when we do get the opportunity to get back in class, we can. So what I want you to do is take a knee. So put one knee down on the ground, the other knee up. The knee that is up should be the one that is opposite of the hand that you're rolling in. So in the video right now, he is using his right hand. So his left knee should be the one that is up here, and his right knee should be back here on the floor, okay? And this is called the lunge approach. So basically what we're gonna do is you're gonna stay right in one spot. You're not gonna move. You're gonna keep that foot still, leg still. You're gonna grip your ball with the wolf howl. You're gonna swing your arm straight back, straight through, and you're gonna roll it. So you're gonna lock it, lunge, load, and roll. Okay, you're locked in, Lunge is already there, load, and then roll. Okay, that's our lunge approach. So go ahead and practice that a couple of times. Make sure that arm comes straight back. If you come off to the side, it's going to go off to the side. Want it to come straight back and straight through. You also don't want to hit your hip as you're coming through. All right, here we go. Next one. Here's our one-step approach, okay? So notice the finish is the same as the lunge approach, okay? We finish the same way, okay? But all we're going to do differently is we're going to now take that step into the lunge, okay? So you're going to lunge, then load it up. So you're going to lunge, load it up, and then roll. One step, 2 feet together, one step, load that ball backwards, and then roll. So as you are stepping forward, you should be bringing your arm back and then rolling it forward once your foot has touched the ground. Okay, this is the one-step approach. So go ahead and practice. Say lunge, load up that ball, and then roll it. Okay, we don't want it to bounce. We don't want it to fly in the air. We want it to roll. Most of the time, you really can't throw a bowling ball because they're usually really heavy. Okay. Same finish. Down in that nice low lunge with that knee close to the ground. Opposite foot is forward. Okay, we step with our opposite foot. All right, here we go. Okay, this is the 3-step approach. Okay, this is our 3-step approach. You're going to lunge, load, and roll after 3 steps. So we're going to start, okay, we're going to start with the opposite foot. So we're bowling, if we're bowling with our right hand, we're going to step with our left foot first. Okay, so left, right, left, load it and roll. Now, if you're left-handed, you're not going to step with your left foot first. You're going to step with your right foot. So if you're left-handed, it should be right, left, right. Okay, because that will give you your opposite foot. Remember, we're opposite foot. So if we roll with our left hand, okay, we step with our right foot. If we roll with our right hand, we step with our left foot. It's opposite of our body. So we have to crisscross our midline. Okay, so if we roll with the hand on this side, we have to step with the foot on this side over here. If we roll with this hand, we have to step with the foot that's on this side over here. Okay, we got to crisscross those. Okay, so go ahead and practice a couple more. Notice the finish is all the same again. Notice the finish, 1, 2, 3. And as we're starting that last step, we're going to roll that ball, load it up, and then roll. The finish is all the same in that lunge position. All right, so now we got a chance to do some of the approaches. We are going to talk about some of the rules when we get into class. Okay, so I'm going to actually stop the music for just a second, just so that you're a little bit able to hear me just a little bit better. Okay, so we have some different rules when it comes to bowling when we are in health and wellness class. And these are all things that we need to do in order to be safe and to be fair to everybody in class as much as possible. Okay, not everyone's going to have the equal amount of turns all the time. Not everyone's going to be good at bowling. Not everybody's going to get all the pins down at one time, but we're going to try to be as fair as possible. All right, so here are the rules when we are in the gym, when we create our bowling alley. Okay, and reminder, we never slide into the pins or run down our lane. Okay, we're never running down to go get a ball and running down to go get the pins. We're walking down and we never slide on the floor. Sliding leads to us slipping, sliding further than we want, sliding into the wall, getting a splinter from the floor. If the wood is not perfectly sanded, we don't want to be doing that. That'll get us hurt. Okay, plus if you slide, you can take somebody else's feet out and they can fall down and get hurt as well. Make sure that you set up the pins correctly. We're going to talk about how to set those up again and remind everybody in a few minutes about that. Okay, and there will always be a picture there, which is going to be the one that I'll show you in about 4 or 5 slides from now. Okay, so make sure you set the pins up correctly, because if you're not setting them up correctly, then you're not really practicing the best way possible. And when you try to go play at a bowling alley or go with your family or a birthday party, when we start to allow those, or they start to have more of those, then you're not going to be like, oh, that's kind of weird. Why are they set up like that? That's not how we set them up. So we're going to set them up correctly. Make sure you are taking turns. Okay, goes into being fair. If you do not take turns, then it's not going to be any fun, and people are not going to want to work with you. And I promise you that if you are that person that wants to be well, I'm going to do it all the time, I'm going to get turns, I'm going to keep going until I get it right, then people are not going to want to work with you. And then when people don't want to work with you, then you're going to have to work by yourself, or you won't get to work at all because you'll be sitting on the side because you are not getting along and following directions. Everyone needs to take turns, no matter how good or how not so good your attempt was, or how good of a day or bad of a day you're doing. You just got to have patience and take your turn. Okay. And if there are mats on the floor, which they will be for bumpers, so that they divide up the lanes so that your ball can't really get into the other people's lanes next to you, we're not jumping on those or running on them, because they move. When they move, then they get zigzaggy, and then the ball does not roll down them straight, and then it hurts your chances of getting a strike or knocking down more pins, and it hurts the chances of the people next to you. And then bowling from the correct spot. We are going to talk about the foul line, in a few minutes, making sure that you are not walking up too close or too far away where it's going to potentially put you in danger of getting hurt or somebody next to you. All right. So now in a bowling alley, there's normally a machine. Okay. There's normally a machine that is bringing down the pins and resetting them for you. Okay. Well, we're going to pretend like when we get to our jobs for class that this machine is just like a person. Okay. When the person is setting up the pins, we're never going to bowl. We never do that because it's very unsafe. Even though we're not using really, really hard bowling balls, the chances that somebody gets hurt when you roll when they're down there, that percentage goes up, which means it's more unsafe for them. We're not going to do that. We wait for them to set up the pins. We wait for them to come all the way back and get out of our way so that they don't get hit by a ball. Okay. The line that you will see in the gym. Now, I don't know whether it'll be a blue piece of tape or yellow or a red piece of tape, but there'll be a piece of tape or something on the floor that will be the foul line. You can't step over that line when you try to bowl. Okay. If you do, then in real bowling, that's a foul and your ball does not count and your score will not count when you do that. So you have to make sure you stay behind that line and pay attention to where you are so that you are following the rules and making it fair for everyone. We talked about it a little bit in the first part of the video. Okay. We want the ball to roll out of our hands. Okay. We don't want to be throwing the ball up in the air like this side. Okay. This is a no-no. Okay. We do not want this. If we're throwing the ball, it becomes very unsafe, and then you don't get to play. You don't get to play, then you don't get to have a grade, because that means you're not getting to participate. Okay, when you roll the ball will roll more consistently, and it'll give you a better chance of getting a strike or knocking down more pins, because it's not going to bounce and lose all of its speed and hit the pins at a slower speed. The faster the ball rolls, the more opportunity those pins are going to have a chance to splatter and go and knock each other over. Okay, so make sure we are rolling it and not throwing it. All right, for those of you who remember from last year, there were 3 jobs that we had. Okay, in order to have a team, in order to be fair, we have 3 jobs. Now, if there's an odd number of people and we can only have 2 people in a lane, then they have to share the responsibilities and figure it out. Okay, but in order to be a team player and to be able to participate with us in bowling and not have to sit and watch it and get a 0 for the day, you have to be a bowler where you try to roll the ball down and knock the pins over. You have to be a ball retriever and a pin setter. Okay, so a bowler, a ball retriever, and a pin setter. The bowler, okay, and you can repeat after me. As the bowler, my job is to roll the ball and try to knock down the pins. So the bowler is the person who stands up there and either does a lunge approach, a one-step or a three-step lunge approach and tries to roll the ball down and knock down as many pins as they can in 2 turns. Okay. The ball retriever is the person, okay, repeat after me. I go get the ball for my team. So after the bowler has rolled the ball down and knocked over whatever pins, maybe no pins at all, maybe all 10 of them, the ball retriever then has to walk down, go get the ball, and bring it back to the starting line. Okay. We don't have a machine. Okay. These machines that are behind us here in this picture, those are in bowling alleys. Those are expensive. We don't have those. We have to do all the work ourselves. That's why being part of a team is so important. We are going to make sure that we have the ball retriever go to get the ball. And the last person is the pin setter. And the pin setter, there will be circles on the floor just like this. They won't look identical to that, but they'll be pretty close to that. Or there might be pieces of tape on the floor. My job is to cover the red circles. Okay, as the pin setter, my job is to cover the red circles. So when the pins fall down, I have to put them back on those red circles. That way they're the same for everybody and they're exactly the right space they're supposed to be so that it gives everyone an equal chance of getting the highest score possible. If you put them too close together, then it's unfair because it's easier to knock over. You put them too far apart, then it makes it harder. If you put them in any other formation, as you can tell, if you look really closely, it's in the shape of a, and if you said triangle, you are correct. Okay, so you put them in a big shape of a triangle, but they do have to be spaced out into where the circles are. All right. So the proper pin setup, okay, like I said, we will have a picture that just looks just like this on the wall to help you out. The numbers you don't have to worry about. Each pin is labeled. That's not how many points each one is worth. They're all worth the same amount. Okay, but they're just labeled this way. They're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. So there are 10 total pins in this triangle that when we set them up, that's how we set them up. Now, sometimes people will knock down all of them. Sometimes they won't knock down any of them. Okay, so here's a couple of vocabulary words, okay, that you need to know and should be using when we are in class. Okay, and think about this like sight words. Okay, so when you're in a reading or when you're in phonics and you're talking ELA and you're talking about sight words, words that are really important to know that will help you to be a better reader. These are vocabulary words. They're just the same. These are going to help you become a better bowler because you're going to understand the terms, which then you're going to be able to understand a lot more parts of the game, which then are going to make it easier for you to play and be able to do it on your own. So here is the first one, a strike. Say it, strike, strike. All right, so a strike is when you roll the ball on your first try and knock down all 10 pins. So if you do it on your first try, because you get 2 turns, if you get it on your first try and you knock down all 10 pins, you get a strike, okay? It's called a strike, but it has to be on your first try of your turn, okay? Good. The second one is called a spare, okay? Called a spare. Now, in order to get a spare, you have to knock down all 10 pins in 2 tries, okay? So the only time you're going to get a spare is if you bowl 1 time. So if you watch my cursor, knock down a couple of pins, but there's still a couple left. On the second try, if you knock down the rest of them, then it's called a spare, okay? If you have 10 pins standing on your second try and you knock down all 10 of them on your second try, it's not called a strike, it's called a spare, okay? So in this video, you're going to see that this gentleman here, okay, he got 9 on his first try. He knocked down 9 out of the 10 pins and he's got 1 left. If he knocks down that 1 pin on the second try, then he gets a spare. If he doesn't, then he doesn't get a spare. He just gets a score of 9. Okay, so let's watch. It's going to be in slow motion so you can see it a little bit easier. Notice how he steps with his opposite foot. Now he's going to curve it a little bit, but that's a little advanced. He knocked it over. He got the spare. He knocked down 9 on his first try, and he knocked down 1 on his second try. So then he gets a spare. Okay. The next one is called a split. anytime that you have pins that look like this, okay, there's a big space in between them side to side, you have a split, okay? This would actually be a 7-6, looks like a 7-6-10 split because it's the 7 pin in the back corner here. If you remember back to our picture here, okay, it's this pin that's left right there. It's the 6 pin and then the 10 pin. So if I go back to my picture, where did it go? There it goes. Okay, so you see the 6 pin sitting in front of the 10 pin, and then the 7 pins way over here. Okay, this is called a split. Now, oh, we're not. Best. Oh, I'm not going to wear it. So the best way to try to get us the split here is to try to go after that 10 pin here. And when you go after that 10 pin, it's going to knock those other ones over and hopefully knock over that 7 pin that's over there. But that's a really hard thing. Splits are very hard to get, but they're very easy to form when you roll the ball and miss the front part of the triangle that you're trying to hit. All right. Open frame. So let's go back to our first thing. If we bowl, whoops, I forgot, my bad. We've already bowled one time before we start this video. An open frame is when you do not get all 10 pins down in 2 tries. Okay, and then your turn is over. So in this picture, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in the back, 5. There's 6 pins left. That means on my first try, I knocked down 4 pins. Doesn't matter which 4 I knock down, but I knocked down 4 pins. That means there are 6 pins left, okay? And in order for me to get a spare, I've got to get them all. So if I roll the ball on my second turn, it's coming. It's coming. A little faster here. It's coming. Okay. Now, if I freeze it right there, oops, I didn't want to do that. If I freeze it right there, I knock down all but 1 pin. There's still 1 pin left. So because there's 1 pin or 2 or 3, that's called an open frame. Okay, I didn't get a strike because I didn't get all 10 of them on my first try. And I didn't get a spare because I didn't get all of them knocked down in 2 tries. Okay, this is called an open frame, and my turn is over. Okay, after my second ball, I am done. I get 2 chances, that's it. Doesn't matter how many you knock over. If you knock over only 1, that's it. Your turn is over. It is time for the next person. Okay. All right, good job. We're not going to do any static stretching at the end of class here today, but just a reminder to make sure that you are going to complete all of your work on the Google Classroom. This is coming up to our last week of work before our report cards. Everything is due by November 6th, okay, November 6th. And you have, because grades go in on the 10th, once they're in on the 10th, I cannot change them. So if you are behind on work, make sure you catch up on it. If you watch this video to make up for your missed class during week 9, make sure you send me a message and says, Mr. Slosik, I have completed the makeup video for bowling. That way I can give you credit for missing class. But if you don't send me that message, I will not know that you watched the video, which means I can't give you credit, which means it's still a 0. Okay, so make sure that you send me that message confirming that you did the work by watching the video and tried and practiced some of the skills. Hopefully it won't take us long to get back into school. That way we can practice this in live time. All right, have a great day, be safe, and we'll see you next week.